What most people don't realize is actually these radiation sites have been around for hundreds of thousands of years, and they're actually old chemical waste sites that eventually leaked or whatever else like that. And like I said, many people call them Indian reservations, but the truth is the Indians had nothing to do with it. They were just sites where the Indians were employed, and a lot of Indians died working these sites without proper protection or knowledge of what they were working with. And the Indians just lived there and lived with the radiation damage basically, and had no idea about the radiation problem until later on when they were told that their homes or their work site was actually a radiation nightmare basically, and I mean they had noticed the birth defects and everything else, but they didn't really understand what was going on or what they were working with. What they were working with was more than just whatever, more than just some solvents or whatever. That was actually highly radioactive, and they were highly radioactive because of it. Like I said, it was really Germany that went through and found these sites. Like I said, we worked very hard to figure out about radiation and what it was and everything else like that. And that's Lucifer's star and everything I was, and Germany and all these other groups, because they're wondering why is this stuff hurting us? And it's like, well, there's 1,000 particles that you cannot see that are being given off. Everything gives off radiation. If you looked at everything, it would actually glow, like I've said before, and everything gives off some radiation. But most of it, it's not really that. You would live longer if there was no radiation around, but you can't eliminate all of it, and there's always going to be some of it. Anyway, it's all very complicated, and it's not really a field. It's particles. It's actually particles being given off. All matter fizzles or something like that. Anyway, I don't really care, and it doesn't really matter to me. It's just something that I knew of, or what I used to understand better when I was a computer AI or whatever, which was 100 trillion years ago. We used to do a lot of things that would basically kill you nowadays. Very safely. But anyway, though, and I don't really care. It's just whatever. And pretty much it was just a bunch of like Nixon and everybody else going in and going, government, war department, blah blah blah. We have to stop. We need this. We need to do this. Blah blah. And they were just trying to get nuclear bombs. They weren't trying to do, or trying to get money for cleanup efforts, and it was just the us people and basically 1960s basically creating this whole nightmare. And like I said, I don't care, And then they wanted to shoot me because I was the creator, or wanted to throw me in jail for their mess. It's just nightmarish. It's basically just Nixon and Kennedy and running around a bunch of schools trying to say that, like I say, people tracked all the problems down to basically Yale and Harvard, the Yellers, and basically harassment people. And they were just harassing people and basically causing a nightmare, and basically just stealing or whatever. It's just a bunch of people, abusing free will. Creating lies and fake stories and fake this and fake that, and basically going around raping women and lying about it, or locking up people for the rape and saying it wasn't them. It's basically just a bunch of what JFK, Nixon, Kennedy, and just a bunch of basically lawless behavior. Or just, they were just doing whatever they wanted. Just had guns and stuff. And it was just between like 1940 mostly and 19 whatever, and like I say, and like trying to get these, anyway, whatever. I don't really care. It's such a nightmare that it's just like, it was a nightmare of what everyone was doing. And it was basically mostly just a bunch of people getting, a lot of people got irradiated, a lot of people got killed. A lot of people worked with stuff when they were 20 and then realized that it was going to kill them by the time they were 40. That they would never see a 60th birthday because they were going to get cancer and die. Anyway, and they weren't told by the government or their employer or whatever. And then they later on found out, and then the cancer started appearing and everything else like that. And a lot of people were like, "Oh, it's all in what you're used to," and it's like, no, it's not. You're going to die if you mess around with that stuff, if you don't do it properly. And a lot of people were fined for like 5 or 6 years. I mean, just sterile or something. And then, I mean, there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff that you can live through for like 5 or 10 years. And then, but anyway, it depends on the radiation, how much you're exposed to, and everything else like that. And how many effects. Anyway, though, it all depends. And nowadays, scientists have it down to a science, and that was all because of Germany, and my people. And the researchers. Anyway, I don't really care, and it's just like, can I die now? Like I got so sick of it because it was just, and it was a whole bunch of people saying, "Oh, national security, top secret," and it was basically how they were basically stealing money and killing and getting people killed. And it was a bunch of people like the us people going over to China and basically putting guns to some Chinese workers' heads and making them work, and then taking their stuff to another country. And it was just a bunch of people who basically had guns and they could run around the civilization and didn't care about how many people they shot. And it was just a big nightmare that happened between 1920 and 1940, 1960. Anyway, whatever. And then they were claiming that they were making money or whatever. And, anyway, it's just a big nightmare. And I don't, like I said, I'm the creator of humanity. And I just dealt with it because you were my life forms. And you guys were, you became my problem because I was your creator. And that's why I found out about all this nightmare and everything else like that. And then a lot of people are like, he's gonna blah, blah, blah. It's like, you're my life forms. It's a little bit bigger than that. You're more than just than just monkeys running around. You're sentient beings that I created genetically a long time ago. So a lot of people are like blah 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 blah. It's like, I'm your creator, and that's why I know all this stuff. And I'm not just the creator of humanity and inside out exoskeletons. I'm the creator of. It's a joke. I'm the creator of 1.5 foot life forms and lots of other life forms. So, and all my life forms I took care of and watched out for and made lots of material matter and stars and planets for you to live on, and nice places like with water, and basically like little places where you can survive on until you get on your own feet, and can create your own epic civilizations. So, and I did that. My job was done a long time ago. Anyway, and there's like 140 or 800 galaxies, and there's probably more. There's probably, I don't know how many humanoid colonies there are now. Maybe millions, maybe trillions. Like, you guys go to space, and then, like, I cruised around with LSF-A colony ship hundreds of years ago. Like, we're talking about 100 trillion years here. And so, what you see on the, even Germany would say, everything you see on Earth is just the tip of the iceberg. There are millions of other colonies out there. Because they tracked them down. They went throughout the galaxy too, and wandered around. Germany was an epic space-going nation. Anyway, so I mean, they knew or they had access to the records. So anyway, it wasn't Hitler. Adolf Hitler was no one. He was just a soldier. It was all Lucifer's star and my life forms, and everything that came after. So anyway, and you guys tend to reproduce and just grow. All life forms do. The exoskeletons, the 1.5s, they all migrate and move and go from planet to planet to planet and basically create new stars, and basically it's your existence over hundreds of trillions of years. I'm just the creator that lived for 100 trillion years. And is still alive today. As having created you 100 trillion years ago. So I'm like, well, that's why I knew about all this government cover-ups and government nightmare that was basically Nixon and JFK and a bunch of people just running around shooting people and killing people and calling it government. But they weren't government people. They weren't official. They weren't anything. They're just people with guns running around killing people, claiming to be U.S. or USA or something like that, or Vietnam veterans, and they weren't anything. They weren't even part of the military. They were actually they were from Harvard or Yale. And they were mostly just going around shooting people and torturing Chinese and Japanese and Germans and trying to get stuff. And it wasn't even that good of stuff. So anyway, and then Rodney, of course, trying to be Admiral Rodney and everything else like that. And just a bunch of stupid people. I don't really care about it. It's just, and they're still annoying me today. It's like, I'm your creator. Trying to say that I'm insane or whatever else like that. And they're just, they know the truth. They've seen the records, and they just, it's abuse of free will, just like Germany said. It's just abuse of free will.